All right, so for our spiral review today, we are going to start going over Earth's layers, the mantle, and the core. So we're getting into geology, structural geology. All right, so what structures are present in the model of Earth and its layers? All right, so my structures are these tectonic plates. And then we have the core, we have the mantle, and we have the crust. And that's kind of the three basic layers. And then we know that this core is broken up into an inner core and an outer core. And then we know the mantle is the area with convection. Remember, we have warming, rising, cooling, sinking, and then down here is where our warming takes place beneath the core. Okay, now our crust is split up. There's this kind of funky layer in the middle called the asthenosphere. And then we know our crust is split up into these tectonic plates. And then those tectonic plates, they have oceanic and continental crust. So those are kind of all the structures that take place within the Earth itself. What's the relationship between the density of Earth's layers and the position of Earth's structure? So remember, density is this trend of how much material is in a given space. So something that's more dense is going to sink, and something that's less dense is going to rise. And that deals with our convection right here. So when we look at the Earth, I'm going to draw two different models. So we have the whole sphere, and the inside of the sphere is more dense, and the outside of the sphere of Earth is less dense. So remember, it's a sphere. So as you're going towards the core, things are more dense. And then as you get towards the surface of Earth, where the crust is, things are less dense. Another way you can look at this is we've looked at this pie shape before. We have less dense and we have more dense. More dense is the core, we have the mantle, and then we have the crust. So as Earth was cooling, Earth once upon a time was a hot molten area, was a big molten ball. Everything was basically melted rock. The heavier minerals, such as iron, sunk all the way to the bottom. Then we have your mantle, which is also mostly made of metals, but there's aluminum. And aluminum is less dense than iron. And then up in the crust, a lot of your crust is made of this silica or quartz mineral. And so that is the least dense layer. So all of these layers separated out based off of their density. All right, what's the relationship between the temperature of Earth's layers and their position in the Earth's structure? Just like density, we have temperature. Because of this density, everything in the center is very, very hot. There's a whole lot of pressure. The core is extremely hot. And then as you go towards the surface, you have your mantle and then your crust. And these are not to scale. I'm trying to do this pretty quickly. The crust is much, 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 much thinner. So your colder materials are solid. So we have the solid crust. We have a molten mantle, right? There's churning going on. And then there's a solid inner core and a liquid outer core. And that solid inner core is solid because of how much pressure there is inside of the Earth. All right, so for our dump diagrams, we're going to keep it kind of simple here. Here's the inside of our Earth. Here's our core. We know that we have an inner core and we know that we have an outer core. Okay? Our inner core is solid. Our outer core is liquid. We know that we have a mantle. Okay? In the mantle, we have this kind of asthenosphere layer, which is what the tectonic, it's kind of like the conveyor belt of the Earth. The tectonic plates kind of just slip and slide across this asthenosphere. Okay? In here we have warming. Remember, this is our convection. Rising. Right here is where we have cooling. And then sinking. And then we know that in its mantle, this is all called convection. And then our crust. Check out what happens with our crust. We have two different types of plates. We have, let's kind of go through here. And then we have this larger plate right here. This is the continental crust. And then over here we have oceanic crust. Okay? In the next set of our spiral review, we are going to explain how these plates, both of these crustal plates, how they collide and move. For now, I need you to take this dump diagram and copy it over here. Oh, I forgot to write crust right here. Crust, mantle, core. We could also put, let's do more dense, most dense, and hottest. We can up here write that this is less dense and coldest. Most dense, least dense. So it goes from coldest to hottest, from least dense to most dense. Go ahead and copy this dump diagram one more time in here, and then you are going to go and find your own definitions for each vocabulary word. Okay? All right, everyone. Thank you.